The Wheeling Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, April 16th, 2015 is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Dorban.
I'm here.
Commissioner Johnson, I am here. Commissioner Powers.
Here.
Commissioner Stylen is absent with prior notice. Commissioner Zangara.
Here.
And Chairman Rafato.
Here. Mr. Jennings, any changes to the agenda?
We have no changes this evening.
Citizen concerns and comments. At this time, it's any citizen can come up and speak of concerns or comments on anything other than what is on the items for review. Great. Consent items, docket number SCBA 1512. Holmes Middle School, 221 South Wolf Road, appearance approval of freestanding sign, and docket number SCBA 15-13. London Middle School, 1001 West Dundee Road, appearance approval of a freestanding sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Johnson. Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson is yes. Commissioner Powers.
Yes.
Commissioner Zangara.
Yes.
And Chairman Rafato.
Yes. Just a comment, this is a simple, easy landscaping plan, easy to understand. I mean, if they could, that's a good example of something that doesn't cost a lot of money to do for somebody who wants to come in. Very easy.
We'll put it on the Wall of Fame.
Thank you. Is that in your office?
It is.
Thank you. Good. Items for review. Docket number 2015-4 and PC 15-6, Handy Foil, 135 East Hints Road. Zoning variations related to lot coverage and building setback, site plan, and appearance approval for a building addition, or building additions. Building additions. Mr. Secretary.
Docket number 2015-4. Roman Albert, representative of Handy Foil of America Incorporated, tenant, is seeking variations from the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-07, Industrial Districts, Sections 19.07.020, I-1, Light Industrial and Office District, 19.07.030, I-2, Limited Industrial District, and 19.07.040, I-3, General Industrial District, relating to maximum allowed lot coverage, minimum required building setback, and associated sections to construct a building addition to the existing industrial facility at 135 East Hints Road in Wheeling, Illinois. Zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment to equalize regulations where Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning has created an unnecessary hardship. A variation is designed to allow affected property owners the same rights and privileges that others enjoy in the same zoning district. In order to be granted a variation, a petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing why their request meets the conditions of the Village Code, including but not limited to how their individual situation is unique or unusual. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that their request for variation meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Jennings.
Thank you. There were a couple of questions from the staff report, from the engineering memo, from the fire department memo, and from the planning division review. We've been working with the petitioner over the last week or so to resolve some of those items. The fire department is now satisfied with the turning radius diagram that was provided. They did suggest a condition of approval related to that, which I'll get into later on, but they were satisfied that it would meet the minimum standards for our larger truck. The village engineer and the civil engineer for the village reviewed this, had no major concerns that couldn't be resolved during permitting, and we do have the civil engineer here tonight if you have any questions. With that, I'd like to have the petitioner come forward. And
that civil engineer would be?
Kyle Getzelman.
Thank you. Welcome, Kyle. This is your first visit to our meeting.
Thank you.
We won't be too hard on you, don't worry about it. If the petitioner could come forward, please, or petitioners. Who's going to be, let's ask this, who's going to be speaking tonight? Everybody?
I think maybe him, but I'll give you a brief introduction.
If you could come up, please.
So,
If you're going to both speak, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you give to be the truth?
yes.
Okay, great. And if you could give your name and business address to our secretary, that would be great.
Yeah, my name is Raj Patel. I'm the Senior Vice President of Operation at the Wheeling Facility, 135 East Haynes Road at Henry Fall Corporation.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I have mine too. So, we're trying to,
If you could speak, come closer to the microphone. Sure. Oh, you can speak. Oh, I'm not telling you not to. Yeah, we just need you closer to the microphone so everybody can hear you and we can get it recorded.
so we're trying to improve the safety and the growth, manage the growth without, expansion or moving from this area. Put a conveyor system in the building so that we can handle our, manufacturing and the shipping department effectively without, and improve the safety in the building. Right now, we have a lot of forklift running around in the building. With conveyor system, we'll eliminate all the forklift safety, traffic and improve the safety. So we're trying to achieve those both goals and keep growing in the same area.
Anything else to add?
One of the, I guess, Raj kind of.
And if you can just give your name to us.
My name is Jeremy Holland from Partners in Design Architects.
Okay.
The primary reason for the additions is internally they move product from one side of the building to the other, and it's all bottlenecks through one forklift lane, if you will. And by doing this, they're able to provide a conveyor belt internally and through these additions to get it from one side of the building to the other more efficiently, so it will eliminate a lot of that forklift traffic from, on this image, the white part down at the bottom. Yeah, it goes from there goes up and then to the right. And so they're moving product back and forth that way in materials and stuff. So the conveyor belt would essentially go from the one addition through and then into the other addition. And it simplifies internal stuff so they don't have lots of cross traffic of forklifts on the inside. So it makes their internal operations much more efficient for their work.
Okay, cool. Anything else, sir?
Covers.
Okay. This is a public hearing, and if there is anybody that wishes to speak on this, please come forward. Okay, we'll go to the Plan Commission. Commissioner Zangara.
Thank you. The addition itself, I don't see any problems with. You just talked about eliminating forklift traffic. I hope that doesn't mean eliminating employees.
No, that's the purpose. We want to keep growing. Our business is growing every year. Just roles will be different, so we won't be adding new forklifts. We're going to control so that we don't have, we just bought 4 new presses, so we're adding more people. We're hiring more people, growing our business, adding more product lines. So we're going to stay here and we'll grow employment here, but it will be a different kind of employment. So wherever we have the forklift operators will stay there, and then all the new addition will be through conveyor. So it will be different kind of a position, so it will be kind of reposition. So they will not impact the employment at all. If anything, it will increase the employment.
And then the only issue I had is the parking, really. There's a photo somewhere here with the parking lot, or there's a plan. That one works. The parallel parking, is there any way that I don't know, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, those 8 parking spaces there on the right-hand side, could we add parking to that and eliminate the parallel parking? Is that a possibility?
Oh, on the south of the
Yeah.
drive? In lieu of the, we were trying to, our goal was to essentially put back in the number of spots we took out, so that we're not causing essentially another variance for a reduced parking amount. And we wanted to do it without adding even more lot coverage and more asphalt. And the parallel parking to us was a net less amount of asphalt added. Whereas if we put the perpendicular lots where actually would be more.
Is there still
Essentially.
gonna be parking in the dirt?
No.
Okay.
No, we worked, we talked about that, and we talked about the owner, and they're willing to install some signage for their employees to reinforce to them. They're not supposed to be parking there now at this time, but occasionally they do, so they've agreed to install signage.
Okay.
Minimum to not park there for
Bes-
employees.
Besides that, if the turning radius and everything was okay, I'm pretty good with it. I don't see any major problems, so that's all I had.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Durbin?
Actually, Commissioner Zangara asked my same questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Question was mostly about the turning radius, which apparently has been taken care of. And then the staff report also includes a condition about marking the drive one way. Has the petitioner been made aware of that, Andrew?
It was in the report. I'm not sure if you picked it up in there. The idea of it was that this is relatively narrow, and we were looking, because of the change of the function of this area, to have this be a one-way west from this north-south part of the lot west. The aisle itself is too narrow to be a two-way aisle with the parking and everything on it. So I don't know if that's acceptable, but that was our suggestion.
Yeah, I think it's acceptable as long as it's not cover the full parking, but just that area, then we're fine with that.
It was this drive that was.
Yeah,
that
we-
section.
Yeah, we should be fine.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't have any questions, really.
Okay, great. Commissioner Powers?
Thanks. Andrew, can you show me just highlight for me where the turning radius concern was?
I don't have the diagram in here, but the radius, as a larger fire truck comes down this way, the concern was this corner
Okay,
and then this corner.
okay.
Excuse me, Andrew. I brought a
yes.
copy of the radius.
Yeah, if you want to pass it down. And then where the new building is, there wasn't building previously. The larger truck, one of the issues with it is the basket overhangs. And it's, while the tires may not actually go over the curb, the basket might hit the building. So the turning radius has to cover both things, both the wheels on the one side and then the basket overhang on the other. So the fire department has received this drawing. They're okay with it. As I mentioned earlier in the meeting, they did suggest a condition of approval because it is just at the absolute minimum standard. They would like to make sure that there's no trees, light poles, anything right along that drive. They also need, in addition to the turning radius, they need a minimum side-to-side clearance for the supports. They actually do need to go back there. They need to drop the supports for the truck, which would be just on either side of the east-west drive. So they can't have any obstructions in that area, either guardrails, boulders, that sort of thing.
Okay, and they talked about moving the fire hydrant. Where's the location of the new fire hydrant, just so I could see that, where that's gonna be?
I don't know if I put do we have the utility?
If you don't have it, that's okay.
Oh.
So if you're looking for that, I have another question for you. The reason we have two variations, is the east-west, the one, the piece of property runs along Hints Road, is that I-1, and then the rear, the one that goes north-south, is that what's the I-2? The zoning? Because I know we asked for I-1 and I-2. Is this like part of the building I-1 and part of the building I-2?
Let me just double check. I'm gonna look at the map real quick.
So far, it's I-3, I-2.
That's
Yeah, it's really
bulk, the
three
bulk of the
different
build,
zones.
yeah, it's partially in the I-1, the I-2, and the I-3 districts.
Okay, so the way that this is written, I mean, I-1, I-2, that's, we know what, that's correct wordage and stuff like that, we're okay with that?
In the motion, you're saying?
Yeah,
It should be correct.
okay. I guess a couple things for the petitioner is, are we, I don't know if it's allowable to have trailer parking on the south side of the facility. Are you guys planning on removing those or keeping those there? Because I think those were parking spots at one time, right? Now I see trailers there. I don't know. Are we allowed to put trailers on the south side of the building like that?
We have already talked to the freight companies. And we'll try to remove those. And with this addition also, we'll have some more room inside, so we'll eliminate a lot of those need for the trailer parking there as well.
So, Andrew, do we typically allow that, or do we need some kind of condition to say we won't allow trailer parking?
Condition, well, the code wouldn't typically allow truck, in this case, trailer storage within the passenger vehicle parking area. As the petitioner said, if they do have a plan to have that removed, it sounds like it's an outside freight company that is utilized by the business.
Yeah, they drop their trailers there.
So if the commission would like to recommend a condition of approval removing those, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see maybe a consensus on that.
Is everybody in agreement with that, a condition? Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Really, the last thing I have to ask is, as part of the addition, are you guys going to be doing any repaving or resealing the parking lot? Because the parking lot could really use to be resealed and restriped, I think. I don't know the last time it was done, but I would like to see that done.
Yeah, we actually had a contractor here just last week.
Okay.
Two of them to give us the quote for it.
Okay. All right, I have nothing further. Thank you, Mr.
Great.
Chairman.
Thank you. Andrew, could you bring up the picture of the south side where the cars park?
Yes, eventually.
That one. So when you say occasionally they park there, if you look at that, that's not occasional, sir. So if it was occasional, you'd still have green grass there somewhere instead of mud. So, but with this being, Andrew, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be rebuilt?
The drive that you're looking at, yes.
This drive here is going to be rebuilt, so it's going to be curbed?
If I can go to the plan real quick, there'll be, that was one of the questions that staff had, actually. We can cover that, but the plan shows a hard line. The hard line on the plan is, does not match the symbol of curb with gutter. We just wanted to clarify that that is a curb and that it would drain properly.
Because Mr. Getzelman, in his report, indicates, number one, proposed elevations are required for new pavement area, edge of pavement, curb flow lines, back of curb, and center line. So I would assume that means that it's going to be curbed?
I was just mentioning that just for my own reference, but when I looked at the plans, I, like Andrew Jennings, noticed that there didn't appear to be any curb on the south side there. It looked like it went from barrier curb, and then, you know, the plans weren't too specific as to what was going to be there. That's why I also kind of mentioned to put those elevations on there. That way, if the drawings weren't super clear, that at least the elevations would clarify whether or not there was going to be curb there. But I didn't notice any along the south of that east-west corridor there. I didn't notice any curb.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to confirm with our design civil engineer. I believe the intent is not to have curb there because the existing storm water management is to flows over the surface. There's not any storm basins in that drive anywhere to tie it to the retention area that we're rerouting a little bit for the route. So my concern would be initially curbing that whole thing. Now we're collecting water in the drives. We could look at possibly curbing parts of it and allowing, we have to allow that stormwater to
Yeah, I
get to
think-
where it's supposed to go.
I think if you curb it and then cut it in a couple of places so that it can still flow,
Right.
you don't have much of a pitch to be able to get it to flow toward the gaps in the curb. I think the idea, though, is to make sure that it's as difficult as possible for people to park in the grass
Yeah.
and still have the water drain properly. And we could work on a condition, I think, that would satisfy both of those concerns.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of it, if you got rid of the semis, people could park in those spots also, right?
Yeah, they do a lot of time. The reason some people park there, because it's closer to the employee entrance, so they don't want to walk that much. If you see the picture, a lot of spots are open, but they.
I know, yeah, I know.
Because they don't want to walk far, and
Right.
they just try to be lazy. But we already told everybody that after we get notification, we'll put a sign there saying no parking anytime.
Okay. Also, Andrew, could you go back to that, my favorite drawing, my favorite picture? One of the things that I know this does not, this variation doesn't generate the need for a bike rack, but as you can see here, you've got a bike rack locked to that sign there. And I think, Andrew, you mentioned that when you were there, you saw another bike rack.
Yeah, there was a second one.
What about putting a bike rack somewhere on your property for people to put their bikes so they can lock them up properly?
Believe we have one on the north side of the building.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think we have one. We bought it. We might have two, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then how about encouraging them to
Yeah.
actually use the,
Or putting it near their entrance.
right, or putting it near where, or
Or we can
moving it
move-
to where it should, where they use it more effectively. But if you have them, that's good. I didn't get out there
Yeah,
to
I think
see that.
they're on the north side of the building.
Okay, so then, thank you. And I agree with Commissioner Powers, if, I don't know if we need that as a condition. I mean, they talked about repaving, and not repaving, maybe grinding it and restriping.
What was the extent of the work that you were having quoted?
For this
For the
scope of
paving?
work, for the scope of work, or?
You said you had two contractors?
Yeah, all the areas that are where they will get cut open those area and they seal coat the whole driveway. So wherever there is a spiders, they're gonna cut that open with the new.
So
Okay.
selectively patch and then seal coat everything?
Selectively, yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise it gets too expensive.
Okay, and
And
restriping?
reseal coat it, yes. And restriping, yeah.
Restriping the whole parking lot?
Entire parking lot.
Okay, are you okay with that?
That includes where the trailers are too, or no?
It's going to be restriped and, yeah.
Yeah, it'll make
Okay,
it look better.
Cool. Then lastly, Mr. Jennings, the seven items that Mr. Getzelman had on his report, are those, the way they read, are those needed for this variation or site plan approval?
For the most part, they're items to pick up under the permit. The question of curbing, because it relates to the discouraging employees to parking in the grass, I think we'd like to suggest that be a condition of approval.
Okay.
Most of the items, we've talked to Mr. Getzelman and John Tack, the village engineer, to sort out and just confirm that the items that are being proposed can be done. Beyond that, there were no major concerns.
Okay, good. Well, that is all I had. Commissioners, anything else?
Yes. Andrew, you mentioned something with the fire trucks and the boulders. There are some there now. Do those have to be removed? Or,
Yes, the fire truck needs clearance on both sides beyond the width of the vehicle in order to put down the supports. So the condition of approval suggested by the fire department does include removal of boulders that are directly adjacent to the drive.
I mean, I can see why you have them there, so that people don't cut over the grass.
Yes, the proposed turn is a little bit more regular. They're removing this S turn that they have around the top of the concrete bottom swale. So it'll be a more regular turning movement, but still, I think the combination of that with the curb you would not need the boulders. It's difficult to drive over a curb to park in the grass.
Okay.
That's true. Okay. So would you like to read the conditions?
And these are all on the site plan docket. Number one, that the newly configured access drive should be marked and posted one-way west. Number two, that there should be no light poles, boulders, or similar objects immediately adjacent to the east-west access drive. Number three, that the trailers at the south end of the building shall be removed within 60 days of occupancy of the addition. Number four, the east-west access drive shall be curbed and have proper drainage. And I believe that that should give you the ability to design that with cuts, provided that that meets with our engineering division's approval. Probably too soon to know for sure, but we'll leave that flexible.
What about parking lot reseal? When is
Would you like to-
Yes.
Was your intention to have the parking lot work done before the addition or after the addition?
As soon as we can, because last year, we were gonna do that last year, but got so late and we missed the time, so we postponed it for this year. So irrespective of this approval or not, that's gonna be done anyways.
Is there a consensus of the commission about the timing of that? Right now, it reads that the parking lot is to be patched as needed, then sealed and striped
Yes.
within a certain
Within,
amount of time.
well, I don't want it interfering
Yeah, I
with
don't know
their,
if they'd want to do that before
Before,
the
yeah.
construction vehicles are back there.
Yeah, especially with the curbing that's.
when do you
going and stuff like
anticipate
that.
starting this? Well, let's say, when do you anticipate completing?
Summer, right?
Yeah, this summer.
Okay, so how about 2 months after completion? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, that the parking lot is to be patched as needed, then sealed and striped within 60 days of occupancy of the addition.
Great. And that was on site plan,
That
right?
was site plan. So the first motion typically would be the variation motion.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve 2015-4.
Do we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Power, second by Commissioner Zangara on 2015-4. Mr. Secretary?
Commissioner Powers?
Yes.
Commissioner Zangara?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson is a yes, and Chairman Rafano.
Yes. Is there a motion on PC 15-6 with the conditions?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Zangara. Mr. Secretary?
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Zangara?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson is a yes, Commissioner Powers?
Yes.
And Chairman Rafano.
Yes. Motion to close?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. You'll have something to sign? Thank you. Approval of minutes, March 26, 2015.
So moved.
Second?
Motion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
You have 4, and 1 abstain. Zangara was abstain. Good. Moving right along. I know. Well done. Mr. Jennings, other business?
Thank you. At this time, we have received notification from a couple of commissioners that they will not be in attendance next week. It gets us down to 4. Staff looked at our potential workshop items for next week due to the fact that there are no items for review. We have 2 workshop items that could potentially be done. One of those, the commission has already decided should be done with a full
Yes.
house. And our thinking at this point is to cancel that meeting
It's fine.
and wait for May.
It's great. Yes.
What was the other workshop?
The next round of discussion on the streetscape, the neighborhood streetscape initiative.
Cool. Yes. Okay. That's great. Yep. Anything else?
That's it.
Other business? Commissioner Zangara?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Commissioner Darban?
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Nothing.
Commissioner Powers?
Couple things. First of all, signage and windows. Wheeling Road, the karate place or whatever, and next door, they're putting nicely put murals or whatever in their windows, and it's like, if it's taking up their whole storefront, is that something we typically allow? Because I think I called it out once before. It almost seems like somebody, and Stella's did it too, and I know Stella's has a bigger storefront, but it just seems like if somebody sees somebody do it, somebody else is doing it, and I don't want to see things get out of control, so. The Spider Gym on Wheeling Road, that's one of them. And the establishment north of them too.
They are supposed to get a appearance review if they're putting a covering over their window.
Yep.
Window signage can be a part of that covering, similar to what we saw with Salata. But if they are covering their entire window with a sign, it would typically go over the maximum sign area for a window sign. So,
Well, I think they exhibit characteristics like Liquor Barn, how they covered their windows. I mean, I'm seeing that stuff going up, and I'm wondering, is that an issue? Does it need to come before us? Is it against code? Stuff like that.
yes.
Okay. I was, with the Citizen Patrol, I go by the Garden Fresh building that's up for auction. They got trailers sitting out in front of their place. We saw it tonight. Handy Foils got them. Sam's Club, I'm seeing trailers with, cars parked on them, sitting in their lots. So, I think that's kind of getting out of control too, in a way. And I don't know. I'll keep calling the enforcement hotline, but trailer parking to me, I've just seen more and more of it. And I don't want to see that get out of control either.
And you have called the enforcement hotline for these?
The Sam's Club, I definitely did. The Garden Fresh, I just noticed that one, but.
Sure, I would encourage you to call it. If you do see it, go ahead and call the enforcement hotline. There are a couple of places that do have specific permission. They've received a variation. Walmart has seasonal trailer permission. When they swap things in and out, they've got a period of time for the winter holidays where they are allowed. So there are a few places that do have some permission.
But you said that one of them was a car trailer.
Yeah, it's like a new used car trailer where they, the ramps
Yeah.
and stuff was a place in Vernon Hills, just sitting out in back, on the side of Sam's, just parked out in the back. I'm going, what the heck is this?
How long was it there?
Oh, it was probably at least a week. I mean, like Friday nights and stuff, I don't know if Sam's allowed them to park there or what, but it's just like, I don't get it.
I would encourage you to call the code enforcement hotline. At least it gets recorded into the system that way. And if you ever had a question about it, we could look it up and see what the outcome of the enforcement action was.
Okay, I have nothing else. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I have nothing either. So, Brooke? Mallory, anything?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for asking.
I know. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'm sorry, I forgot to ask our engineer, would you like to?
Our
say
esteemed
anything?
guest.
Our esteemed guest for tonight, anything?
I have nothing. Thank you for asking.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Dorban. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Whoa.
Ouch,
Wow.
my ears.